Hi there, I'm Nancy Nash with Starfish Strength, and today I want to share a couple recipe ideas with you that you can use to bring watermelon into your healthy eating plan. If you're anything like me, summer is a great time because there's all sorts of fresh fruit. It's strawberry season and then blueberry and raspberry and cherry, and I really love watermelon. I'm passionate about healthy living, and that includes healthy eating. Today, I want to give you a couple great ideas to use watermelon in your healthy eating plan. So first, we're going to make a frozen watermelon limeade. For this recipe, I'll need watermelon, a cup of water, a quarter cup of lime juice. I really like Nellie and Joe's key lime juice, but you could use fresh squeezed lime juice if you don't have that, a few sprigs of mint, and some fresh ginger. And this process starts a day before. I want to actually first cut up my watermelon cubes, and I'm going to take out as many of the seeds as possible. Even in a seedless watermelon, there can be a lot of seeds. So just sort carefully. They don't have to be really small cubes, but we are going to put them all in a Ziploc bag. So just to make sure that they're cubed enough to fit in that bag. And then we're going to freeze a bag of watermelon cubes. And then this next part I can do either the day before and let it sit in the fridge, or I could do the day of. We're going to make a sort of tea out of our mint and ginger. So I'm going to start by adding 2 of my sprigs of mint to my water, and we're going to trim approximately a 1 by 1 inch cube of ginger, just trimming off the sides. You don't have to dice it up. So I want to make sure that my water is in something microwave safe, and then I'm going to have 2 of my mint sprigs, add them to the water along with my ginger cube. And we're going to microwave this for approximately a minute. So if you get an opportunity to refrigerate your mint ginger tea overnight, that will really give an opportunity to let these flavors pop. But if you're kind of just doing it in the moment, then I would recommend just letting it sit for 10 minutes or so, making sure the water is close to room temperature before you add it into the frozen watermelon cubes. For this recipe, I'm just going to make 2 servings. So I'm going to use about 2 cups of frozen watermelon. And then obviously, if you're making this for a larger crowd, make sure you plan about 1 cup of watermelon per person. You could use a little bit more if you want, depending on how you like the balance in this drink. If your watermelon is pretty solidly frozen, you can let it sit out for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my mint and ginger now that it's had a chance to sit for a little while. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my tea to my watermelon. And I'm going to add my quarter cup of lime juice. And now I just have to blend it. So I think it goes without saying for a frozen drink, but you are going to need either a high-powered blender or food processor to make this, unless you're really good with a mortar and pestle. But jokes aside, I don't want anyone to break a blender. So feel free to pick up the blender and give it a light shake, or you could give it a stir, or you could just give the watermelon a little more time to thaw so it blends smoothly. So let's go ahead and serve it up and see how it tastes. I recommend using big straws. These bamboo ones are great, and you can add some mint sprigs for garnish if you want. So in my opinion, it's a little bit better that this be slushy in the beginning versus liquidy, because it is going to continue to melt as it's probably a warm day wherever you're making this. So let's give it a taste and see how it is. So I definitely taste the watermelon, but the lime gives a really strong kick. I can subtly taste the mint and ginger, but again, if you let that tea marinate overnight, you're definitely going to find that that flavor pops a lot more for you. The next recipe I want to share with you is for a salad. You can obviously eat salads in all different sizes, right? I'm going to give you proportions that I would use if I was eating this salad basically as a meal. So I'm using a 2.5 quart bowl. I'm going to fill it with salad greens. Today I'm going to use some mixed greens. And then I'm also going to add some romaine because I really like crunch in my salad. If you have a salad spinner, I find it really easy to just chop and spin up a whole bunch of romaine and then have it in the fridge when you want some later on. And I find it stays fresh for 2 or 3 days. And then to my base of greens, I'm going to add some chopped pistachios. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons per serving per salad. I'm going to add a 1 by 1 inch cube of feta cheese, which I think gives this a really nice balance and salty punch. About half of a sliced cucumber. And if you're using an English cucumber, I usually leave the peel on. And when I'm using a traditional cucumber, I usually shave off some of the peel and leave a little bit for texture. Just make sure that whatever you're using, you wash your vegetables very well. I really like onion, but I eat sweet onions a lot because I find that they're a little friendlier on my digestive system. I'm going to add about 1/4 of an onion to this salad. I know that might be a lot for some people, so you can also slice it even thinner than I am. You could switch to something like a scallion, which will seem a little bit more mild, or you could omit it if onions are not for you. And then I'm going to top this with fresh basil, which I really think pairs well with watermelon and feta. If you want to, you could prepare this salad ahead of time and just leave the watermelon off. And I actually made this yesterday, so you can see it keeps pretty nicely before you add the watermelon. So I'm going to top this with about 1 cup of smaller watermelon cubes. Between the basil, pistachios, and feta cheese, this already has some good seasoning. So I literally could just put like a little bit of pepper on it and eat it as is. But I also have a couple balsamic dressing options that I really like. I often eat this Simply 50 balsamic vinaigrette dressing, and this one you find in the refrigerated section. I also really like a good balsamic glaze. If you're just looking for a little hit of sweetness and tanginess, that's a great option. And then you could literally use just some balsamic vinegar and oil. So I think it kind of depends on how much time you have to work with as to whether or not you want to indulge in making your own dressing or you just want a pre-made option. You get no judgment from me. But if you find that there is another dressing that you really like on this salad, I would love to hear about it. All right, so let's go ahead and give it a taste. So in my opinion, this is a really good balance if you're someone that likes salty and sweet. And I do like the balsamic glaze because it gives it just a little bit of tanginess, and adding pepper onto it also, I think kind of makes it feel like a complete salad. And that feta really hits the salty note, which goes really nicely with the sweetness of the watermelon. So quite honestly, I've made this salad many times without the pistachios. And finding out about that addition recently, I really wanted to share it because I'm a really big pistachio fan. So I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. These pistachios are also just slightly salted, so you get a little bit of kick of salt from them as well. So I personally didn't feel a need to add additional salt into this, but see what you think. Thanks so much for spending time with me in the kitchen today. I hope that you have a couple great new ways to enjoy watermelon this summer. You can find both of these recipes in the description below. And if you want more support or a second look at your nutrition and exercise plan, feel free to reach out to me in the link in the description, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks again. Watermelon recipes. To make your summer extra juicy. Just kidding.